When I say crossing this river, in the Buddhist tradition, it means you are in one bank of the river. This bank, any river has two banks. One of the banks is consisting of all this ignorance-based confusion, what we call as ups and downs in life, a miserable life. But it also has some joys and blissfulness to it. So it is a combination of many different things, which all of us experience in our life. Every day, when we go through our life, we are experiencing both good and bad, happiness, sorrow, everything, all mixed together. That kind of life is shown by living in this bank of misery, suffering, joy, and everything. That is the first bank. And there is the other bank. We want to go across this river to reach the other bank. What is this other bank show us? The other bank, the other shore, show us how a perfect and ideal life is going to be. In this shore, you are going to be completely enlightened. You have perfect freedom from all these things which we are seeing in the other shore. So this is a promised land, an ideal place to be. All of us want to be in that ideal state, is it not? We want to be in that state of perfect freedom. We want to have joy all the time. We want to be happy. We don't want anything to disturb our state of mind. This is the ideal state where all of us want to be. And what is this river about? This river which we need to cross. And sometimes this is called samsara, which we need to cross. How do you cross it? This is where Tantra comes in. You need a boat to cross this river. You are in this bank today, but you want to go to the other shore and you need some means of transport. That transport is going to be provided by this boat. What is this boat? This is again a metaphor. This boat is nothing but the teachings, the scriptures, your teacher, the master, who is going to help you take you from this shore to the other shore. This boat means that. And who is going to row this boat? Who is going to go across? It is you. Each one of us need to make this effort. We need to do something to go to the other end of the shore. So therefore, this boat has to be rowed by us with the help of the teachings, with the help of the teacher to go across. Once you reach the other shore, what is the use of this boat? As we all know, once you are across the other shore, there's no use for this boat. You just leave it on the shore. You just leave it. There is no need for you to carry them with you. Doesn't make sense, right? You don't want to carry a boat with you after you reached your destination. So this is the metaphor we have chosen for this class. This boat can be a method, a technique. That technique is Tantra, what we call as Tantra. When we talk about Tantra, when you look up online, when you try to read some books on it, sometimes it talks about something which we think may not be appropriate. When we look at Tantra, they all talk about sometimes the sensual pleasures of life. This is what is being exposed. All of us, most of us are exposed to this kind of information on the internet or on some of the people who talked about this. But Tantra is much more than that. There is a misinterpretation of Tantra. Therefore, people think, oh, this is a taboo subject. I don't want to learn Tantra. Tantra means something esoteric, which I don't want to go and practice. When I talk about Tantra, there is some fear involved in this. So all this kind of thinking comes because there is a great misunderstanding of what Tantra is all about. So let's clarify some of those in this class. I'll try to clarify. When I say Tantra, Tantra simply means a technique, nothing more. It is just a method of what? A technique to do what? The technique or method to go to the other shore. There are hundreds and thousands of techniques of Tantra or meditation. All of these techniques are available to us so that you can reach the other shore. All of these are meant to help us to get enlightened, nothing more. We want to achieve that freedom, a perfect freedom from all these sorrows in our life, all the mental imagination that keep us down all the time in our life. These techniques and methods are going to help us to get out of this misery, out of this freedom. Therefore, Tantra is one of the ways to achieve that, what we call as enlightenment or freedom or moksha, in whatever words you want to use, you can use. You can use even nirvana for that matter. So let's learn a little bit about Tantra before we practice them. A word of caution here. We did a class, I think a few months before, on Tantra. A few of you joined in that class. This Tantra, as I said before, it needs to be approached in a way you have very clear understanding of what we are doing. In that class, many of you had some intense experiences. Sometimes you're not able to handle them because you have to go through emotions. It's very hard to practice Tantra. You tried them. And some of you asked me after that class, this is something very hard for me. It is like I'm going back in all my memories. I'm trying to struggle with all those things. How do I deal with it? And that is the way of Tantra. You have to go through it. And the practices, what we did in those classes, were very specific for a specific reason. In this class, we are going to look at something else. And we have to have an open mind to practice this Tantra. Enough about this explanation. When you look at Tantra, there are many different traditions. You look at the Buddhist tradition first, and you also have the Hindu tradition. I think in a way, all these traditions come together and learn from each other, and for better understanding based on philosophical truths, there might be some divergence in all these practices. When you look at the Hindu traditions, there are three different live traditions even today. One is, I think many of you know about this, based on Shiva's teachings called Shaiva. The Kashmir Shaiva tradition, they follow a type of Tantra. This is from the Shaiva tradition, number one. And the second is Vishnu, based on Vishnu. There is some Tantra practices, those who follow Vishnu. And then Shakti. This is again a third type of Tantra, which is mostly practiced in states like West Bengal in India and Kerala. These two states follow these tantric traditions based on Shakti, the female form of the Supreme. So there are three different Hindu traditions practicing Tantra. And then in Buddhist traditions, we all know the major divisions in Buddhism, the Mahayana, which we are trying to use some of those techniques. In Mahayana, there is a specific tradition called Vajrayana. Vajra, which means the diamond. In the Vajrayana tradition, they used Tantra. Even today, there is a lot of practitioners of Tantra. They are from Tibet, the Tibetan Buddhism. I think all of you are familiar with the Dalai Lama. He comes in that tradition, which is the Vajrayana tradition, which is again a part of Mahayana. And then you have many other traditions, but these are the most popular ones. And many of these practices are still being followed by many of the people today. So this is some background about Tantra. The Tantra, what we are going to practice today, doesn't belong to any of these traditions. It doesn't belong to Vajrayana, or it doesn't belong to any of the Hindu traditions I talked about. This is a unique technique. Let's remove this word Tantra and call this as a technique so that we can approach it more easily and more, more friendly way. This is a technique. We're going to try that today.